Welcome to the podcast, Black Beyond Borders. I'll be interviewing people around their repatriation journey. So whether Black people are moving to Africa or back to their country of heritage, people that are entrepreneurs, and people like me that are testing out or involved in remote work. So excited to have you on the
Thank you
show.
for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to move to Senegal? Well, at the moment, well, we may or may not be.
So, Aisha Bullard, you and I met doing some community work around Richmond. Where I thought that maybe you were helping somebody distill a building. But it's wonderful, a wonderful encounter. I'm glad you were at LISC at that moment because it led me here now. So, I'm a mom and a wife, got 3 daughters. I'm an attorney by trade, entrepreneur to my core, social justice champion, and avid traveler.
Okay.
So now I'm living a bi-coastal life.
Okay.
West coast of Africa, east coast of the United States.
And you were born and raised in Richmond?
No. I was born in Schenectady, New York.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My dad was in the Navy and met my mom in Newport News, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
So born there and then moved back to Newport News when I was like maybe 5. But most of the time grew up in Newport News and then went to college and law school in Williamsburg. So never left.
Very good. Yeah, bought the house?
Well, so I graduated a year before James.
Mm-hmm.
When I got my first law firm job in Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what brought me there in 98. But I feel like I just got to Richmond yesterday.
How do you say that?
It's just, I don't know. It's like always something new to know.
That changed a lot.
Growing and changing a lot. And so, and then I've just been in different worlds, right? Like the law firm world was completely different than anything I've been doing for the past 20 years. So I did law firm, billing numbers, trying to make partner, all that kind of stuff. Then I did in-house work, and that was a different beast and like put me in a different scene. But through all of it, I knew I didn't want to work for other people.
So back to your business and how you have a bi-coastal life and business, but why Dakar? Why Senegal? You've been here about 4 years now.
Yeah, we moved here in 2020, but we first visited in 2018.
Okay.
And had just been traveling a lot. Like anytime the kids were out of school, we were gone.
Yes.
And part of it probably then was out of like a resistance to consumption. And so, birthdays would come around. It's like, I could buy you this toy that's going to sit here and be here for a long time, or we could get a plane ticket to go somewhere. If it was Christmas, like we could stay here and gather a tree for a lot of stuff, or we could go somewhere. So, and I discovered just travel deals. Like travel became so much more accessible and affordable, even for families. You saw people on social media with like Black Kids Travel and Black Travel Movement. And I was inspired by some of that. It gave me some good tips to like buy tickets for a family of 5 to come to Senegal. So like, we've been going. And then 2018, it was a travel deal for like, I know exactly, it was for 50,000 points. You could travel business class to Senegal. And I had no connection here really, but I was like, that's a deal I can't pass up.
That was good.
It was good, right? It was South African flying at the time from Dulles directly to Dakar.
Cool.
And so I happened through the business to have 250,000 miles. And so we hopped on a plane. Seydou, who you now know, ended up being our travel guide. And just had an amazing experience. Felt like home. The kids enjoyed it. We love beaches. We don't love swimming necessarily and being in the water, but we that's there, so we probably can.
Get my feet wet.
I'd say I would like leave my footprints in the sand, but that's about it. And we just had an amazing time in 2018. And then that piece about me being an entrepreneur to my core, just seeing the hustle, right? Like, yeah. I mean, you've seen that.
Somebody always trying to sell you something here.
Rugs in the middle of the night.
You don't need right?
And so that hustle and that spirit kind of helped to feed me what they call Teranga, that spirit of hospitality and making you feel welcome. Me, I come from a big family, so it just felt like family. And a lot of times people will ask, like, did you trace your ancestry back to Senegal? Like, no, it was... Well, first the travel deal that led us here. And once we got here, because we visited, like we've been to South Africa, we've been to Tanzania, we've been to Morocco. So we've been on the continent before, but there was just something that felt different about here. So I also left out that the entrepreneur in me, once I was traveling all the time, people would want to travel with me.
Okay.
And so they go, oh, well, when you go such and such. So we started doing group travel. I'd done something called Travel
Yeah.
and Build.
I'm the spirit of what I call the spirit of invitation. She'd be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, come over."
So we ended up with this group of entrepreneurs though that would travel together all the time. So
Oh,
in
nice.
2019, we brought a group of about 15 people here. And they had the
Okay.
opportunity to experience it for the first time. Selu again helped us, and everything that I felt in 2018 had just been emphasized more on that trip and
Nice.
confirmed. Yep. And so 2019 we come, and 2020, early 2020, some of the business opportunities I thought I could have here, I start to pursue. And also, we had just been considering being immersed somewhere. Because, you know, like the week and 10 days,
Yeah.
you get a good experience, but you don't get like, what does it really feel like?
Yeah.
So 2020, I come back a couple times looking at land and looking at business opportunities. And I meet a woman who works at a school here. Showed up when we did yoga with the group. She showed up with a Spelman alumni hat on. We started talking about Spelman and how she was teaching AP research and AP seminar at a school that her mom started. Her mom was from Baltimore. Her dad from Senegal. So I was just like, I want to meet your mom. She said I had a sister who's a medical doctor, another sister who's working on her PhD. I'm like, I've done some stuff, the kinds of things I want for my girls. So 2020, I meet her mom. The school is amazing. And we decided to enroll our kids in school here.
Okay.
Yep. And that was February 2020.
Okay.
Yes, we did not re-enroll them in Richmond. We're going to come here, let them have this immersive experience. Our oldest at the time just had 2 years left of high school.
So you had planned to do this before the pandemic?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah.
Our oldest had 2 years left of high school. They're like, we'll finish out here and then maybe we'll world school, because we had seen that concept with families that look like our family. So we're like, we'll do this in Senegal for 2 years and maybe we'll do Mexico City. We'd enjoy Mexico City. Maybe we'll do that for a couple years, rent a house, do all the things. And then the next month, the world changed. 2020, we're like, okay, move. Let's have our family be here. And the world changed. And so I don't know if you remember, like around that time, it felt like school was going to be out. Things were just going to be closed for 2.
Yeah.
And
That did not happen.
because we had already started making a life here, we had a house. So we're like, oh, we'll just spend that 2 weeks in Senegal. Like the house had a pool. Kids can play in the pool, have fun. We come back, they go back to school. So we booked a ticket, and then the news started getting more dire and seemed more serious. We're sitting on the bed the morning we're supposed to come to Senegal for our basically a spring break. And it just looked crazy. So we're like, well, let's not go. And then the airport's closed. Yeah, it really did happen.
Oh, shut down.
The world shut down. I can remember because that was March. So around Easter time, when spring break would have happened for the kids, we didn't even feel like we could get together with our family. You remember that? Like, yeah, like your household stayed with your household.
I don't even know what I did. I did a Zoom call with my family.
It had to be that kind of thing, right? My family. So when I moved to Richmond in '98, most of my family moved from Newport News up, my immediate family. And so I think we did something where like we were at the top of the driveway and they were at the bottom of the driveway.
Oh, Lord.
Get together. It was just weird. That feeling that you couldn't even be with the people you love. But we felt trapped when that happened. And so when the airports opened back up in July, we were on the first thing smoking.
Wow. So you came here. Y'all lived in Simone?
Yep. Simone, about an hour outside of Dakar. Dakar has like 4 million people in the city on any given day. Simone probably has 100,000.
Different feel.
A much different pace. But wonderful things were able to happen. The kids were able to swim and walk to the beach, and because there were no tourists, everything was just kind of
All right. Yeah.
So we were able to get a dog. Alfredo's our second dog here.
It's like y'all had a
Yeah, we were able to get a dog. Life was just different. The pace was just different. And for me, since everybody was remote working, that part worked out too.
Okay. So talk about that. What have been, so y'all have been here 4 years now. What have,
Only supposed to be here 2 years.
yeah, well, that part you extended it. What have been some of the joys and challenges of moving your family of 5 to another country and still having a pretty thriving business stateside?
The joys, we've just met some amazing people. You've met a lot of them. They've become like family. You could have told me when we first moved here, and even in Richmond, my kids had never really been with anybody that wasn't biological family. And you could have told me that I would be comfortable getting on a plane, going back to the US and leaving my kids on another continent. But
Yeah.
we've had people who've been with us for 4 years, in our 5th year now, just really working together as a team and as a family to make sure the kids get what they need. The school, in a lot of ways, has nurtured them in that same way. They've had friendships and friend groups that they hadn't had before. They've seen some stuff. Like, they've had to figure out how to rough it out through some stuff, like when the water didn't work or when we didn't refresh the current to have electricity.
When I was here the first time.
Yeah, I mean, they have to know what to do
Yeah.
about that kind of stuff. So um, some of the privileges that we have in the US, they've had to figure out. One of the things, like I said before, we were trying to escape was this kind of culture of consumption.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been wonderful to not just be walking around Target every weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly things to buy,
Yeah.
but that kind of like the psychology of I gotta have it, I gotta have the newest thing. We haven't had that. I think they felt really affirmed at school. But then there's been some cultural stuff, like we talked about yesterday, where it's an American school, but it's really people speak English. And so you saw the day that Elizabeth got sent home because of her skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Or just the
It's like
way
a TV show.
just some of the ways that people treat each other. We've had, although our skin color is the same, the culture.
Yeah.
You know, like we've had moments where we felt very American, like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not something that we necessarily feel in America all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, breakfast yesterday, right? So they were giving us this African breakfast experience.
They were so excited.
They were like, African breakfast. And we were like,
It's good for you. It makes you strong.
Everybody has stories about this. Everybody's excited about this. We were like, what's it again? So the first
So
one
it's
was
chakri.
chakri.
Chakry. Chakri.
So I like that, which is like a grain.
Millet
Yeah, like a millet substance.
with yogurt.
Yeah.
The other thing, remember, we couldn't get the proportions right. We're
Yeah.
like, just dab a little bit of yogurt. But
Yeah, they're
this
like
was
immersed
soup.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like yogurt in this oatmeal kind of thing. Very weird consistency. And we're like, yeah, we're definitely
What to
American. We'll
say?
take those eggs.
The first time that Fatu helped the kids make General Tso's chicken, right? She's like, what is this? And y'all want to eat chicken with all of this sweet sauce on it? So, but that's been some fun. Some of that stuff's been fun. When the kids first got here, they took surfing lessons, and that was really neat, right? I had never seen a Black person surf before, let alone somebody who looked like me own their own surf shop. And we know worldwide for doing that. The relationship with him is really what led to the coffee shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the remote work, you know, you get sick of kind of working from your bed all the time. And so I've been looking for office space around Dakar. Just so happens the space downstairs in the building where we live becomes available. And one of the biggest objections people from the US have about coming is like, I got to work. It's been a real privilege to be able to welcome a lot of people here. But I'm like, okay, so if I'm working, you can work too if I create a space. It's almost like co-working.
Yeah.
One day I'm talking to Babacar, who owns a surf shop, and telling him I was going to do it. He said, and you should make sure you have good coffee in your workspace because coffee here is trash. Wasn't even a coffee drinker. So I was like, oh, really? But I'm an entrepreneur to my core. So I'm like, start investigating around coffee around Dakar. And I don't see a lot of coffee shops. And I don't see a lot of attention being paid to the origins of coffee. Right? And like here we are on the continent. And coffee originated on the continent. And nobody's really like speaking to that. So through Instagram, I reach out to a friend of a friend, this young woman in Rwanda, Smaya. And I said, I'm thinking to do coffee at Dakar. Will you help me? She said, yeah. And the rest is history.
Okay.
Like, I have an American architect who I work with. I don't know if you met Phil Miller before.
Yeah, Phil was here while we were here.
Oh, yeah. So Phil like sketched out everything, how it could look in the space. We go to design everything. We're fortunate to have so many talented artisans here who were able to make everything. The furniture, the cabinets.
There's definitely a vibe in there. It's a nice wood feeling. The art
very natural.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about the origins of things. Like when you and I first started talking today, and you asked about where am I from? That's how people meet each other. Especially travelers. Like that's one of the first questions that comes up. And so I really wanted to create a space where people start to think about where things come from. And probably if I had built that space in Richmond first, things would have come from IKEA because I was on a budget, or IKEA on a budget. We'd have been there, put some stuff together. But that's one of the things I love about here is people make things. And we forget sometimes that people actually can create and make. And here it's so accessible. It really speaks to a creative spirit that I didn't even know I had.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here you're like, whatever, like, I remember when I came here the first time, you were like, I had to go out. Some of my stuff in your house is custom made, or like,
Most of it.
there's a this huge cabinet. She was like, yeah, somebody made that. Somebody made the screen. And it's like you're you're not going to Amazon, right?
Right.
You're going
Right.
of the wood here. You're going to a craftsman that you're going to say, this is what I want. I'm going to make it. When came in the first time when we were making clothes, like we went to the tailor and you picked out your fabric and you showed them, what you wanted it to look like. And then you come back a couple days.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember seeing you back in Richmond, like, look at that.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. It's just a really neat thing. And then you also know that you help them help their family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so just being able to trace that line and that path back, that's been super fulfilling.
So 4 years together, 2 years at the coffee shop. You talked about some of the joys. What have been some of the challenges? Both you, work, family.
Language, part of that's on me. My brain just is not working to process French and Wolof in the way that other people have. When we first moved here, our oldest daughter, Lena, didn't speak French at all. She became fluent and we relied on her. We're just like, let her do it, right? And then I've got so many people around me who speak English. Yeah. Being out and about, I need to do better about that. And even with the language, not having it at that depth where the nuances, you get them, right? We were joking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Like up or down, they matter. So language, culture, like I, as an entrepreneur, especially, we talked about this yesterday, first generation college, first entrepreneur in my family. I've grown a business to where in Richmond, we've got about 50 employees and between Richmond and DC, and that takes grind. And so I come here with the grind culture, right? Like we work it every day. We're not taking time off. We're talking about how we want things. We want to be able to take care of our families and provide things. That takes work every day. So when I encounter people as a business owner here who are like, but we're taking 4 days off for that holiday. It's one day. Why are we taking 4 days off?
Oh, it's a different.
It's just a different approach. But one of the things I figured comes out of that, I think that in the US, we have both our culture of consumption, but also we've inherited this feeling about scarcity. Even though we've got a tremendous amount of resources, but we feel like we're not going to have enough.
Right. So you got
to hustle. And here, there's so many families who they own their land, they own their house, they don't mind multi-generational families living together. And so even though you see people poor like we don't really see in the US, it's they have what they need. They know they're going to have a place to live. You've seen how people will offer you, there's the spoonful of rice they were about to put in their mouth. Like here.
Yeah. So
yeah, they have clothes. They don't need all the latest, greatest thing, right? They have house, they have food, they have clothes. So this other stuff that you want us to work every day for, we don't need that. And I'm coming here like, no, we're gonna work all the time. So that's been challenging.
Cultural clash.
As a business owner starting something new here, you think everybody's gonna grind like that. So I've had to figure out that balance, The time difference has helped me a bit.
Okay.
So I get up in the morning. When you've seen it, it can be kind of a leisurely morning.
It's hard to get yourself together because stuff doesn't start there. So it's like, I got to
before anybody's gonna text me, call me. Same time, I think it's it's helped me to be healthier. And not just physically healthier, but like emotionally, mentally healthier. But it's challenging. The weather can be hot sometimes.
I got here at the end of October and I was like, remember it being this hot the last time I was here.
The weather can be challenging. Technology sometimes can be challenging, if the Wi-Fi goes out. But I can remember the woman who started the school where my kids are, Stephanie Kahn. Stephanie said, after a while, you don't see things. So you'll get people who come to visit and they're like, oh, look at that road. Like, why is the road? Like, I forgot the road wasn't even, or look at the trash. Yeah, so Stephanie said after a while, you don't see. So some of the challenges that were maybe challenging in the first year or two, I've probably forgotten. I've become
You just
so
got used to
accustomed
it,
to,
yeah.
yeah, so accustomed to things like, we probably were frustrated about conveniences that didn't exist anymore. Well, you've seen the water go out, but we figured out how to
It's
navigate that.
fine.
It's fine. I can remember the first time I saw, like, the guys with the horse in the cart,
Yeah.
and we're trying to drive down the street, we're like, "Why is a guy with a horse in a cart?" But those guys get a horse for, like, $300, and they start their trash collection business or their furniture business. Like, in Simone
It's like
with
they haul just
their
everything,
yeah,
yeah. It's like
and so
tow
that
maintenance,
again speaks to my
moving.
spirit of hustle, like, seeing people who are not just sitting going, "Oh, woe is me, wait for somebody to come take care of me." No, people out here working.
Grinding.
Yeah.
Child, they try to sell I gotta try to sell the rug. Oh, they charge a broom. I said, "A
Yeah.
broom?" Child, it's everything.
Now we have also had challenges with our kids, like I said, them, feeling like so now when we first moved here, Sydney was 8, our youngest, and, Elizabeth was 10. They're now almost 15 and 12. And they've missed some what they call American experience. So
Mm,
they're like, "Oh, well, we wanna go to football games and
mm.
have lockers at school," and some of those kinds of things. Um, and so navigating
That's
through
funny.
that, you feel like, "Did I make the right decision pulling my kids into this dream that we're living?"
Yeah.
So some days they're just kinda like, "This is great. We have all the things we want. We have friends and it's cool." And some days it's like, "Okay, how much therapy we gonna have to pay for?" Mom and dad pulled us away. And then, we miss family. It's
Yeah.
not easy for people to hop on a plane for 7 hours, 8 hours to actually be here. We've had a lot of people visit, a lot of family visit, but we miss those spontaneous moments to be with family too.
Yeah, and so how do you navigate so when we talked well, I see you every now and again in Richmond. It seemed like you go back to the US, you said about every 45 days. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit how you navigate that and your talk a little bit about your primary business and navigating that across the Atlantic Ocean.
So I mentioned being a lawyer and knowing I didn't want to work for somebody else
Mhm.
forever. So in 2005, with another attorney, we started a housing business. We are providing housing then to kids who are in foster care. That morphed into providing housing to adults who are unsheltered and coming out of prison and all of the attendant services that go along with that. And so now we do that across 6 locations and with about 50 employees. And I was very fortunate that my family was involved early on, so they do a lot of the heavy lifting, and we've been doing it for nearly 20 years now.
Wow.
So, we've got people who take care of facilities and take care of people, and I don't have to be involved in the day-to-day as much
Yeah, okay.
anymore.
Yeah.
So that helped tremendously, and having people that like family, biological family, and people who become like family who are
Yeah, you can
doing the
take
work.
care.
Uh, but occasionally, I have to go back and do something. Like, a lot of our work is government contract work, and the relationship maintainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Good
going
pay
back
stuff.
to maintain relationships, or when we expanded into DC, there was a lot of back and forth. But our life here is so much more affordable than our life in the US that even with everything that we pay for, the plane ticket, you know, doesn't add a whole lot to the budget. And short flight, people taking care of the kids. And so, yeah, that made it easy to bounce back.
Yeah, I think you have a rich life and infrastructure here with Fatu, who is an amazing cook, and Abdu, who is taking care of the girls, taking them where they need to go. And just to me, it just feels like a community of support care, but also reciprocity because you're allowing them to do financially the things that they want to do.
Yeah, James jokes that I'm the 8th largest employer in Senegal. The 8th largest employer.
Yeah, but also bringing people I'm here because you're here for the second time, right? I'll come back in January. I'm doing some documenting here and like I feel like I have not. They were like, "How is it?"
Like,
I was
that's
like,
your
"Oh, I
network.
got some friends. They're gonna take care of me, or they're gonna be like, where are you at? Or what you doing? Are you okay?" So this infrastructure I think is important. I'm interested in your perspective on what it means to be black here. How
Mhm.
has that changed or any perspective change of what does it mean to be black in Senegal? What's your perspective on what that means for Senegalese people? What's that meant for your
Yeah.
kind of sense of identity and belonging?
And so my life as a lawyer in Richmond came with a certain amount of privilege. You know, people, you just get a presumption about a bunch of stuff when you say I'm an attorney. But I never felt comfortable in those spaces. Like the first law firm where I worked, I was one of 4 Black lawyers out of about 230 lawyers.
Ooh, child.
And would get othered a lot. My kids were in spaces where that happened. I would not get assignments, not because of outright racism, but that kind of tacit stuff is just as damaging and
Right,
painful.
yeah.
That benign neglect that happens when other people are getting promoted and opportunities. I remember my supervisor would come and say, "Oh, but so for lawyers in big law firms, it's like you got to build 2,000 hours, and I'm building 1,700 hours." It's like, "Oh, you're doing really well." How can you say that? Like, how you want to try to sell me that I'm doing really well when the number is it's a number,
Right,
you know?
right. I'm not
And so being in those spaces, so when I came here and I'm looking to my left and my right, and there are professional people who look like me, who are in, fine restaurants and doing all
right, right, right.
like, so I was a deal lawyer. They're doing big deals and they look like me. And I'm like, I want my kids to
To
see
be in
that
that
and to feel
place.
that. Now, what's shocking when I get here, though, is that American privilege, I wasn't ready for how that feels. I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for people treating me differently. We talk about white privilege all the time and how white people can enjoy that. And here, Senegalese people saw my Americanness more than they saw my Blackness.
Yeah.
I wasn't really ready for that because we don't know how to navigate that. We don't know how to navigate
It just
somebody.
felt weird of like
Yeah,
somebody giving you deferential treatment. And we were talking yesterday at breakfast of like passport privilege is real. Like we can
absolutely.
go wherever we want. I forget that you need a visa. What? You need a visa?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I wasn't ready for that part. That was a little I should have known, but I didn't. But then now when I go back, like where were we when we were just back? Oh no, when we went to Paris and flew back, and I was just like, wow, I never been around this many white people in a long time. And having to go through the things you go through, right? Like if if somebody got served before you,
Oh yeah.
like
I'm listening. Let's see if this
yeah,
comes.
somebody gets served before you and you're like, huh, if you're in the
Why
US
is
and
this
you're like,
happening?
yeah, hell no, I was here first, right? I had forgotten that we think about those kinds of things, all the microaggressions and all of that. Um, so that's been interesting to process. And it feels different being back in spaces like that. Even yesterday, when we were talking about my kids in school and maybe switching them school and who they see in the leadership at this other school.
Yeah.
They're so used to seeing people who look like them leading and running stuff. And like I said, doing the deals and stuff. When I first got here, there was a man I met. He had worked in the US some, but mostly in France and mostly on the continent. And he said, wait a minute, in America, Black people spend any moment thinking they might not belong in a room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't spend any time thinking.
Not
that
even a concept.
It's not even, yeah. And so I love that my kids, when it comes to race, are in an environment where they don't really have to spend any time thinking about that, right? Lena grew up more in the US where when a teacher calls on somebody else in the class, she's like, why didn't they call on me? When that happens to my kids now, they might not get called on, but they know it's not because
of their race.
in this country, it could be because they're a girl.
Yeah.
So there's still
Here's that, right?
right. But there's trade-offs. With all the trade-offs though, like I would do it over again. And like I said, we're supposed to be here 2 years. We're in our 5th year now. So it's feeding something for us.
Yeah, I love that.
For sure.
So tell me your couple of your favorite things, places, food. What are your like favorite things about Senegal in general or just Dakar?
So the accessibility to the beach. I'm not always there, but knowing that if I'm having a crazy day or a rough day,
A 5-minute walk.
that outlet. I walk every day here. I know you walk all the time in Richmond. I never found a walking routine in Richmond, but here every morning I'm going to the beach. So that's one of my favorite things, the beach. Food, oh my God, there's so much. And fresh, like our refrigerator, you've seen it, it's tiny. We don't have, like in Richmond, we had the backup refrigerator in the garage and the deep freezer, go to Costco. So having that kind of fresh food all the time.
Yeah, there's not much in the fridge at all.
Yeah.
Because Fatu basically goes to the market like every day or something.
Not every day, but frequently. But also there's systems here where she doesn't have to go. So like she can get the fish delivered to her.
Yeah, we
got a
had
fish
that.
fry.
It's so funny. So me, Anjali, and Seydu were just at the coffee shop. And Anjali was like, I want some fish. And Seydu was like, oh, I'll call somebody. What you want? Literally like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
She had a whole, I would say, 5 to 6 pound assortment of seafood.
Yeah. So that accessibility of things that, you know, a lot of those feel like privileges that people have. I'm not exposed. Privileges that people have in the US. I like that, the accessibility of fresh food, fresh things, all the maker stuff and the creative stuff. Like we've had jewelry made, we've had furniture made, the big trade fair that's going on now, being able to see artisans from other African countries.
Abdul was like, don't you want to go? He's trying to get me to go.
You gotta go.
I know.
You gotta go. But also just relationships and people. Whenever I come back to the airport in Dakar, on the jet bridge, people are smiling and they're welcoming. And it's not in this kind of, and some of it is I'm back and forth. People recognize me, but it's not like when you go to a tourist destination and it's like, oh, we're just happy to have tourists. People are just generally, you know? And so that is a favorite thing. Like in my neighborhood, people, I might not know everybody's names, but it just feels.
There's a little bit of Mr. Rogers, like, hey,
but I didn't know how much older I was than you, so I didn't know if you would recognize Mr.
Like
A Beautiful Day.
Yeah, you just go there.
I know you want to sing a song. A Beautiful Day. It feels like that. And I lived in, even like when I lived in the Fan, I didn't have that. I don't know if it's just people busy coming and going, but it wasn't this like real neighborly feeling. And then we moved out to Chesterfield to be in a subdivision in a cul-de-sac where we thought we're going to get this. And
people don't even say hi. I think it's also a cultural thing. Like,
yeah.
I know
they don't have spirit of hello.
Yeah, like I just don't think that's like a white or European thing to just go out. Like I walk throughout my neighborhood, like you said, even if I don't know people, I'm saying hi, right? But also what I think is different is when you walk out in this neighborhood, people are at their stand. So they're there and you're gonna see them. Like when Elijah or the other fruit person, or Mama Coco, I'm gonna see them as I'm taking my walk. And they'll be there tomorrow. But they're at their place of business or post in a way that I guess there's people sitting outside, but they're not necessarily being productive. But they're
at Target though. Like they're working at Walmart or Target or Kroger. So the fact that there are vegetable stands and fruit stands and not just candy counters, you know, that's a big deal. I mean, we think about urban planning and people always talking about like food deserts and that kind of thing. I wonder, have people looked at international models for that? You think really you got to build a $10 million grocery store for people to have? Yeah. We just talked about fish that can get delivered to you just like that. Fruit and vegetable stands. Those things are joyous. People generally being happy. I love that. I love how people greet each other. You know, not just the French double kiss, but I've seen men encounter each other and then they do this but they're like this for a good 2 minutes in a way that I think in the US would feel really uncomfortable to men to embrace in that way. So I love watching it and I love my kids getting to see.
Yeah, I've seen men hold hands here or kind of like walk.
I was like, what you doing? The work that I am in, especially in reentry and seeing and James doing this work in criminal justice, I just really wish more Black men got to see that, or that we had a way to infuse that more into the culture there. Because I feel like if you've been embracing somebody in that way.
Right. And I think that this is another rely on women so much for their intimacy because they don't get that from other men. But women have that. I'm like, I have 10 other people that I can talk to about any of the vicissitudes of life, right? But if I'm in a relationship with a man, I'm like, who do you have to talk to?
Yeah. Not just to talk, though, the touch.
Yes. Yeah, that too, right? So their love starts around that.
And it doesn't have to just be romantic. So I love that. There's so much to love about the place.
What's your favorite food here or thing to have fatu make or to eat?
So there's a fish called lot, and lot has so many different uses. So I love everything lot, like the fish burger that she made.
Oh, it's the best fish burger.
It's the best fish burger. It's like my adult take on McDonald's filet of fish. And she makes the tartar sauce with the capers that I know is like a secret thing. Secret, no, well, not secret anymore. But she uses that. She makes like fish nuggets. She makes a fish with cream sauce, like a cream of mushroom kind of thing. The first time my kids had it, they thought they were eating chicken. You can kind of trick them on that. So, the accessibility for a variety of seafoods, but lots probably one of my favorites. I don't love chebujen. I think because the first time I had it, like in the first experience, there's a smoked fermented fish thing that's in it. You know how you eat it
Yep.
communally. And I'm just, being adventurous, and I get a little bit of eggplant, I get a little bit of cabbage, but I got that thing.
So chebujen is their national dish. It's like their version of jollof, fish and rice and vegetables.
Well, they say it originated.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
the jollof.
Right.
So my friend Anta, who was earlier, she was like, yeah, we don't even need to come to a jollof competition.
Yeah, that's what Senegalese people say.
Right. She was like, Whitney Houston wouldn't come.
And UNESCO
some lookalike.
Still said it.
Yeah.
So once UNESCO says it.
Cool.
But I think having that piece and chebujen made me, I like it. And I really like the experience of everybody eating together and that kind of thing. But I don't love it. But I do love chebuyap. And so, there's all the right? That's what the meat. Okay. Well, they just say meat, but for them, meat is like beef, lamb, or goat.
Gotcha.
And then chebunar is with chicken. Yeah.
Just learn.
So all the cheps is a different kind of rice, but the chebuyap is probably my favorite of and mafe. Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually with meat, lamb, but it can be with chicken too, and it's with the peanut sauce. So like the peanut stew that a lot of West African countries have. And sometimes it can have a little spice to it. But yeah, like mafe. We don't get it as much because Elizabeth has peanut allergy.
Okay, yeah.
So whenever I have an opportunity to get it, it's the opposite of my experience with chebujen, where it's just like, I could do without. But if somebody's got mafe, yeah.
Okay. Last question as we wind down. What advice would you give somebody who is thinking, and particularly you as a business owner and this person bringing a family over, what advice would you give somebody who's thinking about moving to another country, a Black person moving to another Black space?
I don't know. I would just say, just do it. We didn't have a lot of prep. We were fortunate that we knew one person who was going to help us through. And so if you can have somebody on the ground, especially if there's a language barrier, who will just help you navigate customs and processes. But I would just say, don't spend too much time thinking about it. Mostly, I feel like there's few decisions that we can't come back from, So you go and you don't like it, you come back,
Oh, it was also, I guess you all came with the intention of spending a little bit of time here. So it wasn't like you're like, we're going to sell everything and move here. You're like, okay, we're going to try it for a couple years. Things we have in place, right? And so I think that the testing of it, and you have 2 lives. I think y'all sold one of y'all houses recently. And so how it's morphed over time.
Yeah. Yeah. But that had to be like, we didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
So we just had to jump in and do it. There's probably some things like, we've been really fortunate in a variety of ways. Like, I know some people have to kind of save money. For us to have U.S. income that we can spend here is tremendous. And wow, yeah, in 4 years, I told you like how Wave didn't exist before really. But some of the early challenges were like, how do we get money here? That's so much easier now. I think COVID helped with a lot of those processes for people to figure out how to do things remotely. So challenges we had then with the kids, like I think it's been really important for us that we did find a network of Black Americans here. And so our kids, in addition to all the new friends that they have friends who've had experiences identical to theirs.
Okay, yeah.
So like here, there's a WhatsApp group called Sisters in Dakar. It's probably got 200 mostly Black American women in it who are supporting each other. They get together, play spades.
Come on, spades! Yeah. I was asking because I got cards. I was gonna teach Sydney and Ash how to play, and they were like, "Oh, I think they were playing spades downstairs one time. Maybe there was a game or something."
Yeah. And so having that community has been super helpful. But those are things that all can develop once you make the decision to just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Now I've seen some people who just did it and they didn't like it and they went back and it was fine.
Well, I think that's a good point to wrap up. Thank you for being on the
Thank
show.
you for
Thank you for
having me.
sharing your story. Thank you for having me here in my time, both in Senegal. Both times have been rich and lovely and full of community. So I thank you not only for the space you created for yourself and your family as a model, but what you're also inviting others.
Oh, you're welcome. I always say thank you for saying yes. Because a lot of people don't, they don't have the courage or even the desire sometimes. Some people like Africa.
Child, don't invite me anywhere. I will be
You said
there.
it.
Be like, can I come
You
back?
said it. Where we going next? Where are we going next? We got to come up with some places. Rwanda.
Yeah, I want to go to Rwanda.
Yeah. So did I tell you about land in Rwanda?
No, you did not tell me that. Okay.
So we got to go there and start building.